The Day the Ginga Met the Dragon. Los Angeles, 1972. The hot August afternoon of 1972 in Los Angeles would be remembered by 15 witnesses as the day cultural arrogance met technical reality in the most painful way possible. Carlos Mendes, a 28-year-old Brazilian capoeirista who had moved to California 6 months prior, entered Bruce Lee's Chinatown Academy without warning. He interrupted an ongoing class with a declaration that made the entire room stop. "I've heard a lot about you, Bruce Lee, but I want to see if you have the Ginga, because without Ginga, there is no real fight." The silence that followed was dense and uncomfortable, broken only by the sound of the held breaths of the 15 students present, who knew instinctively that something significant was about to happen. Mendes stood 6 feet 0 inches, 1.82 meters, tall and weighed 174 pounds, 79 kilograms, of muscle defined by years of practicing capoeira since his adolescence in Rio de Janeiro. He carried with him the vibrant confidence of someone who genuinely believed his art was superior to all others. Bruce Lee weighed 137 pounds, 62 kilograms. He was in the middle of demonstrating defense techniques against multiple attackers, and his first reaction to the intruder wasn't anger but curiosity. Who was this Brazilian and what exactly did he want to prove? The answer would come in 10 seconds that would transform cultural admiration into forced respect through a brutal physical lesson. The clash of philosophies. Carlos Mendes hadn't come to Los Angeles specifically to challenge Bruce Lee. He came to work as a dance instructor in a Hollywood studio, teaching samba and other Brazilian rhythms to actors. However, he also taught capoeira informally in parks. He had developed an almost religious pride in his martial art disguised as dance. To him, capoeira was a complete cultural expression, a historical resistance of an oppressed people transformed into fluid, unpredictable movement. Whenever American students asked about other martial arts, especially Kung Fu, Mendes always replied, "Kung Fu is rigid, predictable, and soulless. Capoeira has Ginga, life and improvisation." This belief didn't come from real experience testing capoeira against other styles, but from deep cultural indoctrination. When he read about Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, Mendes saw it as an arrogant appropriation. "This Chinese man is stealing our philosophy and selling it as his own invention," he complained to friends. He decided to educate Lee on the true origins of fluid martial arts. The demonstration. When Mendes issued his challenge, Bruce didn't explode in anger. He simply nodded and proposed a demonstration. "You move with your Ginga, I try to hit you. No full contact, just a touch to prove I could connect. Do you agree?" Mendes agreed, demanding real speed. The 15 students stepped back, creating an 8m×8m space. Bruce took a relaxed stance, no fixed guard, no visible tension. 0 to 2 seconds, Mendes began his full Ginga, a hypnotic circular movement. Bruce studied the rhythm for 3 seconds and then exploded forward. He closed a 4-meter gap in a fraction of a second. Mendes tried to dodge, but Bruce anticipated the direction and touched Mendes' chin with controlled force. First touch. 2 to 4 seconds. Mendes tried to reset, but Bruce gave him no space. Lee feinted a high punch, forcing Mendes to drop low. As he did, Bruce's foot was already snapping into a side kick that stopped inches from Mendes' ribs. Second touch. 4 to 6 seconds. Frustrated, Mendes launched a Mailua de Compasso, a spectacular spinning heel kick. Bruce simply ducked, letting the foot pass over his head. As Mendes landed off balance, Bruce was behind him, touching the base of his skull. A lethal position in a real fight. Third touch. 6 to 10 seconds. Mendes launched a desperate sequence of kicks, martello, bunsao, armada. Bruce wasn't just blocking. He simply wasn't where the blows were aimed. In the 8th second, Bruce feinted a retreat. When Mendes lunged, Bruce slid inside his guard with physics-defying speed. The finale. In less than 2 seconds, Bruce touched 5 vital points in rapid succession: throat, solar plexus, liver, femoral nerve, and back to the chin. Total time 10 seconds. Total touches 9. Mendes stood frozen, processing the impossible. He had used every technique he knew, and he hadn't landed a single blow. Bruce had treated a challenge like a simple classroom demonstration. Bruce stepped back, took a neutral stance, and waited for Mendes to process the lesson. The Brazilian was panting, not from exhaustion but from It wasn't physical exhaustion but psychological shock. His entire self-image as a skilled fighter and bearer of a superior martial art had been challenged and disproven in just 10 seconds. He looked at Bruce with an expression mixing confusion, shame, and a burgeoning respect. How did you do that?" he asked, his voice still carrying a Brazilian accent, but now stripped of its previous arrogance. I was using GINGA. It should have been impossible for you to hit me so many times." Bruce did not seize the moment to humiliate him. Instead, he responded with an educational, almost gentle tone. "Your GINGA is beautiful. It creates constant movement and makes timing difficult for untrained people, but it has a pattern. Everything has a pattern no matter how fluid it seems. And once I see the pattern, I can predict. I'm not reacting to your movements. I'm anticipating where you're going to be. That is the difference between choreographed movement and real adaptive combat." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You came here to say I have no GINGA, but GINGA is not exclusive to capoeira. It's a universal principle. Adaptability, fluidity, improvisation. I have it. I just don't call it GINGA. I call it having no fixed form." Mendes remained silent for a long moment, processing. Then, to his credit, he did something many men in a similar position would not. He admitted defeat with grace. "You are right. I came here with arrogance, thinking capoeira was superior, thinking you were just marketing. I was wrong, completely wrong. I am sorry for interrupting your class and for disrespecting you." He bowed in a sign of respect, a gesture universal across cultures. A bridge between arts. Bruce accepted the apology with a nod. "You don't need to apologize for defending your art, but you must understand that every art has value and no art is complete on its own. Capoeira has things Kung Fu does not. Kung Fu has things capoeira does not. A smart fighter learns from everything." Then, surprising everyone in the room, Bruce offered, "If you want to stay and watch the rest of the class, you are welcome. And if you'd like to exchange knowledge someday, you teach me capoeira, I teach you what I know, I accept. Knowledge does not diminish when shared. It multiplies." Mendes accepted immediately. He stayed for the rest of that class, observing with an entirely different focus, no longer critical but humble and absorbing. For the next 6 weeks before returning to Brazil, he visited Bruce's academy 3 times a week. He taught capoeira to Bruce and interested students, sharing the philosophy and history behind the art. In exchange, Bruce shared the principles of Jeet Kune Do, showing how to adapt capoeira techniques for no-rules combat by removing overly choreographed movements and keeping only what was functionally effective. The legacy of the 10 seconds. When Mendes finally left for Brazil, he left a letter for Bruce. "Thank you for teaching me. Not through words, but through a demonstration I cannot deny. You taught me in 10 seconds what 10 years of training did not. That cultural arrogance is blindness. I will take these lessons back to Brazil and teach my students not just capoeira, but an open mind." Years later, Bruce would show this letter to his students as an example of how to turn potential conflict into a mutual learning opportunity. Ted Wong, one of Bruce's most dedicated students, recalled in 1998, "That was a defining moment for me. It wasn't about proving one style was better than another. It was about proving that an open mind and adaptability beat dogma every time." Dan Inosanto also mentioned the incident during a 2005 seminar. The speed with which Bruce read the patterns of capoeira was frightening. The Brazilian was moving well, but Bruce saw through the GINGA as if it were transparent. He demonstrated that no movement is truly unpredictable if you train your eyes to see. A changed philosophy in Rio. Carlos Mendes returned to Rio de Janeiro and opened an academy that, unlike the traditional schools of the time, encouraged students to study other martial arts. When Bruce Lee passed away in 1973, Mendes organized a memorial Rota de Capoeira on Copacabana Beach, gathering over 100 practitioners to honor the man who had educated him. Today, over 50 years later, the academy Mendes founded still operates, now run by his senior students. On the main wall hangs a framed photo, a young Mendes in a GINGA stance next to Bruce Lee in a Jeet Kune Do posture. Below it, a plaque reads, "Carlos Mendes and Bruce Lee, Los Angeles, 1972. When two arts meet with respect, both grow." It remains a story of how 10 seconds, 9 controlled strikes versus 0 connections, transformed cultural arrogance into genuine respect. It wasn't capoeira versus kung fu. It was a lesson that fluidity and adaptability belong to no single art, but to the universal seeker of truth.